First of all, I just wanted to thank Janina Harding for inviting me down here and allowing me to screen this film. It's just it's the first actual platform where I've actually heard an audience laugh along with it, and because we started online with this thing, and we got a lot of feedback online through the Facebook and people saying, oh, it's funny, I really relate to this, black fellas and white fellas, and but it's good to actually be in like a physical room and actually hear people laughing instead of just the text messages and stuff like that.
No, you're a bit of talent rather than a bit of madness.
Yeah. And I started in documentary where it was more like it's more serious sort of stuff. It's a serious medium. Black was my first student film when I was at the film school, but like this comedy is just it's so much fun to make for one, and comedy is such a powerful medium. Especially satire like this. It's something that audiences can laugh along with and then later think about. That there's actual serious messages being
And so that helps the platform. It makes it much more accessible to people because people are emotional and evokes emotion.
Exactly. And I mean, there's just so much material to rip on and send up in this country. I mean, it's just ripe. It's just ripe for the pickings. It's like, the reality TV stuff, the fact that we don't get represented much on mainstream TV, like doing an Aboriginal version of Home and Away, for instance, or Neighbours, just think like if, our family, or, my mom moved down the street in Ramsey Street or something, how that
would always laugh at that. They're borrowing sugar all the time, mate. Yeah. We run out, really? Oh, when are you going to get some more, brother?
Exactly.
So the transition from making a student film like Black, which is very serious, it's about some a serious stance on life, somebody's perception of their own existence as an Aboriginal person, and did it translate across the comedy? Was that always the kind of the journey for you, bro?
I didn't think back then when I was making Black that I would be, 7 years down the track making WhiteBLACKatcha, which is a totally different genre altogether, and I always thought that, I'd eventually get into drama or, more serious sort of stuff, but always, like all the stuff that I've done with my songwriting or, filmmaking, it's always about our communities and about our stories and about alternative truths and, exposing those other voices that you don't normally hear. And, with Black, at the time in 2004 when I started to conceptualise that thing, there was no voice, Aboriginal voice in hip-hop on the mainstream radio or alternative radio like Triple J. And then all of a sudden in 2006, I think it was, the B.L.A.C.K boys were discovered by Triple J and hotly rotated. And it was as if Triple J sort of like discovered Aboriginal hip-hop all of a sudden, But at the time I couldn't swallow it because, I knew of Brother Black, I knew of Les Beckett, aka Bex, I knew of YMC, I knew of Ebony Williams, I knew of Native Rhyme, I knew of like so many other Aboriginal hip-hop artists in this country that never got the exposure. And I just, that was a driving force to make Black, and it's like, it's the same thing with comedy, it's like, we've got this unique sense of humour, we're just talking about it,
Yeah, no, we all love to do the Coomba, don't we?
Yeah.
It is beautiful, brother. It's, and also the Devon, I mean, it's seriously, that made me laugh because, how many black fellas haven't had a frick sandwich or...
Exactly.
But it's beautiful how you turn it into what's going on in the mainstream.
Yeah.
You connect it.
Yeah, that's it.
You started the ABC like I did, but not at the same, I don't think it was the same time, but obviously the Aboriginal Programs Unit and stuff in Sydney.
Yeah.
Obviously ABC has fantastic training grounds for lots of different artists that come through it. But it was the time of you choosing to be freelance that actually freed you up and allowed you to have the power. Is that right, bro?
Yeah, man. Like when I was at the ABC, it's a great training ground. Like what you're saying. I made like 20 half-hour documentaries, quality half-hour documentaries that I'm really, really proud of. And you know, one of them was about the Ruby Hunter story. You know, and films like that I'm really proud of. That you know, that I did while I was there. But you know, after a while, you're like everyone else that's an internal producer at the ABC. You become just a cog in the machine, and you become like part of the sausage factory, as they say. All the veterans that have been there for like 20 years or whatever.
And freelance is where the power came.
That's, man, like, I think when Message Stick became decommissioned last year, and I was given a voluntary redundancy, I was like, I was pissed off, like everyone else that got a voluntary redundancy, because it was just like this cushy, you know, you're getting paid to do what you love doing, but it's the best boot I ever got, because right now I am free, and that's emphasis on the free in the freelance.
Yeah.
And now as a freelancer, I'm doing what I want to do, what I'm passionate about, and you know, all I have to answer to is really my audience, which is awesome.
And would you say your audience, predominantly, it's what you wake up in the morning for, is Indigenous, and then mainstream has to learn from that? Is that right?
Yeah, I want to entertain everyone, you know. I think comedy and these alternate stories, like all the beautiful stories that we've heard throughout this festival, are like bridges, you know, the bridge, the gap that Uncle Reggie's talking about. Not the gap that, you know,
yeah, we get that.
You know. But no, really, like, they are real tools in really sort of bringing black fellas and white fellas together, because it's about like inviting the mainstream into our world. You know, what we see, what we feel, what we have experienced, and that a lot of white fellas don't have that opportunity. You know, making films like this of inviting people in. You know, that we're starting to open the doors and say, look, you know, this is who we are.
So you're trying to build an army of cans, no cans.
That's it. I want cans, no cans.
Yeah, just cans.